Every ill will in the world comes down to mental stability and the lack thereof. So that should be priority number one, is understanding yourself, understanding where you are, understanding how to get out of it if you suffer from it. 1 in 2 people. Take a look around. There's a ton of people in here. Half of you are suffering with depression, anxiety, substance abuse, or substance dependence. And you're walking around, quietly suffering, existing in life miserable. Why? All of those things can be fixed. And believe it or not, they can be fixed relatively easy, which is so frustrating to me. I've been on the front lines for nearly 25 years fighting this and absorbing suffering and pain and hurt and watching children lose their mothers and fathers and suffer at the hands of abuse and sexual abuse and physical abuse and poor people suffering all the time with depression and anxiety and not being able to function and living in terror, walking around, trying to exist. It's horrible to see. There's nobody in here and nobody listening right now that doesn't have somebody in their life going through this. And if you don't, then you're it. I guarantee it. Everybody goes through this. Everybody. It's part of life. It becomes disastrous when we don't do something about it, when we don't fix it. And why are we not fixing it? Out of ignorance? For not knowing? That's unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable. That's why I'm so very passionate about trying to speak and talk to anybody that will listen, because it applies to everybody. And here's it's not that I'm a wonderfully good person. It has to do with necessity. What do hurt people do? They hurt people. We all know that, right? If people stop being hurt, what will they stop doing? Hurting people. Is that going to make my life better? Yep. Will it make your life better? Yep. That's the only motivation you need right there. For that simple reason right there, you should be wanting to get help and help others. Not because you need to be angelic and helpful to everybody, because it's going to make your life better. It's going to make your life much better. Think about all the stress in your life. What's it from? People being bad and you suffering the consequences of their actions. Think about all the gripes. Think about all the things that make you angry and frustrated and make life miserable for you. What is it from? That very thing. So if you have a chance to stabilize yourself and become resistant to it, inoculated from it, and you have the ability to help others not be in pain and suffering, why wouldn't you do that? It's beyond comprehension for me sometimes that people go through life in such a zombie-like state of ignorance. And it's not bliss. You're fooling yourself. Ignorance is only bliss temporarily. It's misery and suffering. And that's why I tell you the difference between living life and existing in life. It's so different. It's so different. And that's the difference between happiness and pleasure. And most people have no idea that those things are different, because they're filled with the hurt and they can't see. They've literally lost sight of reality. And that delusion that comes with pain and suffering that turns into mental illness or dysfunction, that's the reason. And I'm telling you, I understand. Reality sometimes, it's overwhelming. It's painful, especially what's going on with politics and politicians and people in charge of stuff just destroying this country, destroying this world. And we're trying to survive in it. I get all that stuff. So it can be overwhelming. But you can find stability in that. You can find wellness in that. You can find a way to get past that if you learn and if you apply the things that we're going to be teaching you in here.